Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dread Broadcast. I'm Tim, one half of the Average Reviews podcast, and your solo host tonight as we kick off episode 2 of this little experiment we started just a month ago. If you're new here, the Dread Broadcast is a monthly horror news roundtable built by creators for fans. Every month, we bring together voices from across the horror space. Reviewers, collectors, readers, streamers, podcasters, you name it. If you love horror and have something to say, we want you at this table. What we're building here is more than just a recap show. It's a space. It's a community. It's a celebration of horror in all of its forms and the people who love it in their own unique way. So if you're watching this and thinking, do I belong in something like this? The answer is yes. Come as you are, minimal prep. Just bring something you're excited to talk about, something that reflects what you already do in your corner of the internet. That's the heartbeat of the Dread Broadcast. So for tonight's killer panel, we start off with the cutting room, where we have Sean from the Horror Vision. Sean, you can take a second and say hello.
Hello. Glad to be here. Thank you for the invite, and I love what you're doing with this.
Awesome. We're excited to have you. Oh, there we go. And David from Journey with a Cinephile will be joining us later. And we also have Sean, another Sean from the Movie Dumpster. Sean, thank you.
Thanks for having me. How you doing, guys?
Super excited to have you. I've been listening. I discovered you guys. I was teaching junior high when COVID hit. And I was being called into the classroom still while students were not, to do cleaning and stuff like that. And I found you guys trying to find something to listen to while I was working, and I've been listening ever since. So I'm super excited to have you here.
Awesome. That's pretty cool to hear. Yeah, my co-host Joel the Skull could not make it tonight. Actually had a power outage. I think a tornado whipped through Banger and took out his power line. But yeah, we're a horror movie podcast. We do a little bit of everything, but horror is kind of our focus. So it kind of made sense to come here on the Dreadcast and talk about, I don't know, horror.
Well, we're glad to have you, and hopefully the tornado wasn't too devastating. Hopefully we hear something from him soon.
Helen Hunt was out there. She's taking care of it.
All right. And in the Curio Cabinet, where hidden gems, oddities, and under the radar horror gets its moment, we have Aaron returning from last episode. Aaron.
Yes. Hi, Tim. Thank you for having me. Aaron here from A&B Horror Movies, and I have 8 lesser known and newer independent films that I'm going to share tonight. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. So excited to have you. And new this time, we have Kelsey from Slime and Slashers.
Hi, thanks for having me, and thank you to all my corns in the live chat right now. I appreciate you guys. They're like bombarding the chat. Thank you for being here, you guys, and thank you, Tim, for having me, and I'm so glad to be on with so many fellow creators, and I plan on talking about a boatload of freaking slasher books today and some Giallo adjacent books, so excited about that and excited to hear what everyone else has to say.
I cannot wait. Thank you so much for being here. And we also have Evan. He is not here at the moment. He is on his way. He did just message me from the Kilt and the Redneck podcast. I believe he is here to highlight some horror video games tonight. And then rounding it out in the crypt, the physical media lovers, we have GC returning from our first episode. GC from Face the Movies.
Tim, thank you so much for having me back, man. And dude, I gotta say that intro was phenomenal. Like, I was just sitting here bobbing my head, just waiting, and I was like, oh, I look like an idiot just here by myself. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I have a few physical media releases that I'm excited to talk about. Some new, some old, some that probably nobody's ever heard of. So yeah, excited to be here.
Awesome. We're glad you liked it so much the first time when you had zero prep, that you came back for a second one, and now we're excited to see what you prepped for us this time.
Oh, absolutely.
And you brought your friend Q the movie collector with you. Q,
yeah.
Excited to have you here.
I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for bringing me on. I'm excited to talk about some of the physical media that I have here, and just like GC and everyone else was saying, man, that intro was awesome. It got me hyped. Seriously.
Thank you. Yeah, I dabble. Like I said, I dabble with graphic design and editing stuff in my free time. So that's my fun stuff. I just do that for fun. And Evan, you did make it. Evan,
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
awesome.
Sorry about
Good to
that.
have you. You can say hi now if you want. Not to put you on the spot.
Oh no. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I was sitting here writing notes, and then I looked at the phone, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm late. I need to hurry up."
That is all right. All right. So it's a stacked panel, and we haven't even gotten to our spotlight guest. So joining us tonight is an author whose work has carved out a fierce, heartfelt space in modern slasher fiction. You may know her under her former pen name of Ivy Tholen, but tonight she's stepping into the light as Jessica Lacy. Jessica is the brilliant mind behind Tastes Like Candy, Maul Rats, Mother Dear, and more. Novels that blend slasher brutality with heart, humor, and kind of grit that keeps you flipping pages well past midnight. So, under your real name, starting a bold new chapter, we're honored to have you here tonight to talk about what's next, what inspires you, and what's lurking in the pages ahead. Jessica, welcome to the Dread Broadcast.
Hello. I am so happy to be here. And I've been on your podcast multiple times.
Many times for like a year and a half now.
Podcast multiple times, and this is the first time I'm ever using my real name. It's very exciting. The whole thing is, yeah, it's a lot.
It's a shift for me to just go from calling you Jessica after having called you Ivy on camera for so long. So
something you had to work at because you've known my real name most of the time.
Yes, I have.
It was never a behind the scenes. I didn't care if people knew, but I always wrote under a pen name. I chose to write under a pen name because if the book sucked, I didn't want to like ruin my name. So I wanted there to be something. If they were bad, I could just delete them and make them go away. And then when all of this happened, it was kind of the perfect way to switch it over and start using my own, because now I know the books don't suck. So I'm not like embarrassed to thank you.
I'll pop those up every now and then. So just so you know, you'll see them coming.
That's gonna freak me the hell out, just so you're aware. But yeah, I don't know. How should I tell this story? Because I'll tell the whole story.
I mean, most of us discovered you obviously under Ivy.
Yeah.
Clearly, you have since found out that people don't think your books suck. People quite enjoy them. In fact, I'm always curious. Let's go back to the moment you realized people enjoyed them when you heard a certain other author drop your book on another show.
Yeah.
I think that was a big moment for you. So maybe start there and move forward.
I've noticed the whole thing has always come in waves. Like when I started getting daily sales, like that was one. And the one that you're talking about is out of nowhere, my sales kind of blew up, and I knew somebody somewhere must have been talking about me. And for the record, I've never run any kind of ads. So any of my sales that I got were completely organic, completely word of mouth, or people saw the cover. I know the cover was a huge thing. And they picked me up from there. So I had these massive amount of sales, and I was sitting on my couch one day, and I do not remember the person, but I know they are somehow associated with Kelsey. I don't remember the person that messaged me, but she messaged me and she was like, I'm at a book event with Stephen Graham Jones and he's talking about you right now. And I Googled, and he had tweeted about me before. And then I found out he had talked about me on a podcast, and he compared me to Deborah Hill, which made me cry. And if for anybody who doesn't know who that is, and I don't know why you're listening to this if you don't know who Deborah Hill is, he co-wrote and produced Halloween.
Yes.
So that's, yes, exactly. So that was the first time I was like, oh, this really doesn't suck. Like, this is something real. and it kept me going and it kept me publishing, and I got 4 books out of it. And there had been a couple of instances where people had reached out to me to discuss rights or that kind of thing, and I wasn't super interested because I didn't want to. I don't know. I don't want to be in a situation where people are telling me what to write. I don't ever want to be in that situation. So I was fine just being independent. But sometime last November, I got a message on Instagram from an editor at Sourcebooks, and I spent like 2 hours trying to verify her identity, because you should always do that. Don't get scammed. But we were
This
able
is
to
not a scam. This was for real.
yeah, this was for real. And I ended up she ended up wanting to buy all of the existing books plus 3 more. And I do have full control over what's in the books. Nobody asked me to change anything. All of the changes that I made to Taste Like Candy were my choices. There were a couple of places where they were like, can you do more with this? Can this be bigger? I know that there's a death at the end when the killer dies. She wanted it more cinematic, and it just became, it's insane now. Like, it was bonkers before, but it's crazy now. Sean has read it. He can attest.
It is crazy.
But it is still me. It is still the same quality. It's kind of like as if the person who wrote Mother Dear got to write Taste Like Candy. So any of the growth from there is in Taste Like Candy now, and it's probably my favorite thing I've ever written. And 6 months ago, it was so cringy I couldn't even read it. So that ought to tell you.
I was muted. That's super exciting. I can't wait to see where you are going now. It's incredible to me. You did this all independently.
Yeah.
Moving into that.
Mhm.
So, and you kind of covered, there hasn't been like, it's still your vision. That's not changing. No one has to worry about that part, right?
No.
This is all still going to be, it's always been Jessica, and it's still going to be Jessica.
Yeah.
So,
and they even let me bring my cover designer, and my little icon is the new cover. He did a great job, and we've got something really cool coming for the next book, because the books are going to be coming out every 6 months. So September, we're going to get Taste Like Candy. April, we're getting Mother Dear, but she has a new title. So that'll be, yes, she has a new title. It's going to be called Fatally Yours. Nobody ever told me whether I could or couldn't say that, so I'm just I don't care. It's called Fatally Yours. And it was they wanted to change it because it didn't really sell the book necessarily very well, and I wasn't super attached to the title, so I didn't care. And they did, we threw together a list of potential names, and they focus grouped it and stuff, and that was the winner. And it was one I came up with, so I was pretty happy. But yeah, and I added some stuff to the book to make the title make more sense. I'm not going to say what that is yet, though.
I can't wait for that one. I do like the title. I have to admit, I do.
It's an Alkaline Trio song.
Okay, so does anybody else have more questions for her, or am I diving in?
I have a few questions.
Go for it.
You don't mind?
Yeah.
I'm really excited to read these revised versions. I've read every single one of your books except for Taste Like Candy 2. And you told me yourself, Jessica, that I should just wait till it's released. So that's the only reason I haven't read that one yet. But I have loved them all. I am so glad you got to keep the cover artist, because I do think that really set your books apart from other indie books, in my opinion. And
Absolutely.
I'm also wondering, with this new release and like the redone covers and everything, are you also going to have audiobooks available? Because I know a lot of people love audiobooks that who are into reading these days.
Yes, I am. Spotify is going to be releasing audiobooks for currently we have the 4 existing books are part of the deal, but I can't imagine if the other ones don't sell well, they won't also get picked up as well. I do not know anything about them. I don't know when they're coming. I know nothing except they are coming. So
that's exciting.
I'm really excited about it. It was I got to they gave like a questionnaire kind of thing about what kind of person you would want to be narrating, because I think that I get approval, but I at least get to suggest. So we're hunting for a young sounding Texan girl. So yeah, I'm very, very, very excited. So they're gonna be authentic sounding as well, which I'm really happy about.
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah,
really
just trying to
excited
do
about
this-
that.
The books take place in Texas, so
Buc-ee's. When I saw the Buc-ee's reference, I
Yes.
was like, oh my god, Buc-ee's. I mean, I live in Louisiana and we don't really have any super near, but every time I've taken a road trip, we stop by to get those hot roasted peanuts. Yes, anyway.
Oh
It's
yes,
so
I've
good.
been to a Buc-ee's. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I think
That's
we have
an
one in
experience.
Indiana now, maybe.
Oh, excellent.
But
Yeah.
I think it's exciting about the audiobooks, especially Jessica, because I feel like you are one of the rare authors who I think can write like a horror movie style.
yes.
And that is so difficult for authors to do. There's only a few other people besides you who I've ever felt that with when I've been reading their books. I would say you, Adam Caesar, David Sodergren would be a few others that I would say have that horror movie style. Do you
Mhm.
attribute that to, your love of horror movies, or like what kind of influenced your style basically?
For me, it's intentional. I'm intentionally trying to write a slasher movie that you can read. Because I was not allowed to watch horror movies whenever I was growing up, and I was allowed to read whatever I wanted. So whatever I could get my hands on. And I cut my teeth on Fear Street. So what I'm doing is basically Fear Street, but more modern and way more violent. One of the things that we're trying to impart with this book is it's cute and fluffy and pink, but it's violent, very, very violent. They are considered YA because I write about teenagers, but I write about teenagers because that's who the victims in slasher movies are. So I've never been sort of trying to talk down to an audience or write specifically for young people. It's more of a, y'all want to come along, you're welcome along for the ride. This is people your age, but I have people who are fans of the kind of movies that I'm fans of: Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Scream, all of that kind of stuff. I think Adam Caesar probably sees things with a similar light because I know he's extremely influenced by horror films in general. So that may be why you're seeing that in both of us, but it's 100% intentional with me. And recently I went back and started rereading some old Fear Street books, and it's not one for one, it's not identical because my voice is very different than his, but you can see the beats in the story that absolutely match up with the Fear Street books. And it's not intentional at all. It's just that those things have bored themselves into my brain, that just happens to be the way that I write. So it's a combination of the Fear Street and then just getting ideas and inspiration from horror films. Every time I sit down and I think, okay, I want to kill someone with a lawnmower, I start thinking about what's been done in film and how can I play with that? And I'll go and I'll watch a handful of movies that have lawnmower kills and I'll see what I can do differently.
Leprechaun 2.
Because writing slashers is literally just doing the same thing over and over again, but in a completely different way.
Mhm.
It's just knowing the tropes, knowing what you can do, and just going crazy with it. I don't know. It's just fun. I just really love fun horror, and I think that we're getting a lot of it again, and I'm glad to be part of it.
I have to agree with the chat, and like your kills are some of the most creative kills ever. I love them. I mean, watermelons, like the description of watermelons and Taste Like Candy, the dunk take scene and Taste Like Candy as well. Oh my gosh, so many great moments. I cannot wait to read the revised edition, especially because you said that you feel like you've grown as a writer, and comparing like, your more recent book, Mother Dear, to Taste Like Candy, I do feel like those are my two favorites of yours out of all that I've read, and they're very different because Taste Like Candy is more of, there's an exposition. You do get to know the main character and her group of friends. You do spend a little time getting to know them, and I think that's actually really unique because in a horror movie, you don't always have to have likable characters. It doesn't matter. A slasher could be freaking bonkers, insane, cheesy as hell and it's badass. It's great.
Mhm.
But with a horror book, it doesn't always work if you have unlikable characters. It really depends on the author. But what you did with Taste Like Candy is you made them really likable. And I think that made the kills, which were creative and badass to begin with, even more impactful. But when you go to Mother Dear, that one, it starts a lot quicker. Like you get a taste of a kill really early on in the book versus Taste Like Candy. So was that on purpose, you trying to do a kill sooner in your more recent book, or just wanting to go a different direction? What were your thoughts about that?
It was 100% intentional. One of the biggest complaints about the original Taste Like Candy was that it was slow to start. And so whenever I got another crack at Taste Like Candy, I added an opening kill. Like, I think from now on, I feel like I don't read reviews most of the time, but occasionally I will have someone else read them. And if something is coming up repeatedly, that's a problem. And I want to be able to work on it, but I can't handle reading direct reviews, positive or negative. It just doesn't work for me. But now I know people want something right out of the gate. I'll happily give you something right out of the gate. I will have a throat slit on page 3 if you want that.
But I did love the character development in Taste Like Candy. That didn't bother me at all. But I just noticed it was very starkly different when I started Mother Dear, and it was like a kill right there, right in the beginning. But then you did still pepper in the character development. So that was still there, even though you kind of added something different at the beginning. I like how you could see the evolution. So that makes me extra excited to see the revised versions.
I'm with you. One of my favorite parts about your books has always been the characters. They often feel like people I know in real life. And sometimes that makes it more fun when they die. Sometimes that makes it harder when they die. It just depends on who you're writing. We do have a question from the comments that, since you were talking about Fear Street, do you have a favorite Fear Street book, Jessica?
The Cheerleaders series. I was so obsessed with those. And the cover of I think it's the first one where she's got the pom-poms and they're in the shape of a skull. That is my favorite book cover of all time. And I can't right now tell you which one it is. It's the first Evil, I'm pretty sure. It's the first one. Anyway, favorite of all time. And I want to ape it someday for something.
All right, you've written some great teen characters. Is there a certain character that has stuck with you the longest after finishing a book?
Katie Rose. Do you mean writing one or reading one?
After while you're writing it and you have finished writing it, but that character is still in your head, planting ideas for more stories.
Katie Rose from Mother Dear, 100%. And she starts popping up everywhere. And that's fine because I want her to, but she's popping up. She's currently in Taste Like Candy 2, but she's getting another cameo in that book that's going to be nuts. And then she's definitely part of Taste Like Candy 3. So Kelsey's really excited.
I really am. I really love your books quite a lot. And it was kind of just on a whim that I discovered you. I know my friend Kelly suggested when I was asking for book club picks like years ago. 3 years ago, maybe? I don't know. Quite a long time ago. And she was like, oh, Tastes Like Candy. I hadn't heard of it, but I looked up the cover and I was like, oh my God, yes, this has to be one of the choices. And it won the poll, and like literally 99.9% of everyone who read it, which was quite a few people at the time, loved it. Yeah. And I loved it. And right then I was like, this is my favorite slasher book ever. And I've read quite a few since then. It's still... The only one that comes close is your other book, Mother Dear. I really liked that one too a lot. Just, it was definitely different. Like there's different dynamics, but such a quirky family. Like going back to your description of the characters, Mother Dear's characters are so zany, but I kind of love it because your humor, it's in Taste Like Candy, but it's really just finessed so perfectly in Mother Dear.
It's so that one.
It is. So like that's like so close to being my second though.
That one. I believe I messaged Jessica after I read that one, and I said it reminded me of the TV show Arrested Development, but with people killing people in it. Like that was the combination of that book, and it was a great time. So
that one for anyone who hasn't read it, which I always assume people haven't. I assume my editor hasn't read some of my stuff, and that's just wild. But anyway, it's basically Father of the Bride, but it's the mother we're following instead. There we go. And instead of getting arrested for hot dog buns, she's just snapping and killing people instead. And it's told from the perspective of the youngest daughter. There's 3 daughters, and she's nuts and just likes killing people for fun. Kind of like a really weird teenage Patrick Bateman female. Like, yeah.
She's
Dexter,
lovable.
Dexter's,
She's likable.
Dexter Morgan's brother kind of situation.
I did not hear that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I was saying like a Dexter Morgan, like his brother. He I don't know if you ever watched the show Dexter. There was like he wasn't raised properly, so he was just killing people for fun. And the rest you have to watch the show. But think of that instantly. Sorry.
I love Dexter. I get what you're saying. I love that show.
It's been so long since I've seen it.
I like the idea. I haven't read the book, but what you guys have been talking about, I kind of now want to look up your books, to be perfectly honest, because I love slasher movies, and I don't really read slasher books. That's an obvious thought. It never really popped in my head till this conversation, so I'm definitely going to be looking you up, to be perfectly honest.
Perfect.
Thank you. There's been a big wave within the past couple of years.
Okay.
My book, Tastes Like Candy, originally came out in 2020, and at that point, there was not a lot out there. There was like stuff on the extreme side, but I personally just good for people that want to read it, not for me. So I wanted something that was a little bit more like Scream, but I also am super into movies like Jawbreaker, Heathers. So my goal was to sort of write slashers with the feel of those kind of movies, and then it's in a book, so you can take it anywhere. And if you can't handle slasher movies, you can read it. I've had a lot of people say that to me, which is wild. People that don't like slasher movies liking my work is bizarre to me.
So I was going to ask, how would you sell it to those of us here on this panel who might not have read the books but love slashers? Going into that, like, I love your books because I've read a couple of those other slashers that are out there. Reading your books gives me the same feeling as watching the movies that I love. Mm-hmm. It's that level of fun that I get watching Scream. It gets dark and it's intense, but it's also characters I care about, situations I care about, dark humor that has me laughing out loud very often.
My problem with a lot, because I don't really read slashers anymore because they really upset me. And I'm just like, why? And then I get really mad at the marketing because everything is being marketed as a Scream, as a book, and they're just not. And you don't have to lie. You could market it a different way, because I've read a couple of books that were promised to be slashers that were fine, but I was mad because I was promised a slasher. But there's a lot of that going on around there, and I think a lot of people who aren't slasher books can't exist without slasher movies. I don't think. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't have the influence of slasher films, it's just a murder mystery, which is fine. It's just a regular thriller. When you start incorporating weird kills with you're picturing it in your head, 1980s movie style. When you start adding those sort of things in, you have somebody stalking somebody. You have, when we're talking about comparing things to Scream, you have everybody's a little bit aware. I try really hard not to throw in random just movie references to, like, I don't have any characters going, this is exactly like what happened in urban legend. Like, I can't do that, and I hate when I read it. But I'm not afraid to use a reference to Slumber Party Massacre in a really oblique way that maybe somebody might understand. Or I use the phrase peachy keen in the new Tastes Like Candy, and I'm assuming people think Jawbreaker when they hear that. I hope they do.
Yeah, like meta humor, it can land sometimes, and sometimes it can't. I mean, Scream kind of mastered that formula, so I see why people love to rip it off to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But I can totally see what you mean in a book that might not translate as well.
It doesn't. It does not. And I'm not going to say what the book was, but there was a book that was, if they hadn't done that, it probably would have been one of my favorite slasher novels I'd ever read, but they added too much in there. At this point, it's kind of like when writers make main characters writers. Horror fans
King.
Making the characters horror fans just like them.
Yes.
You got to go somewhere else. You got to do something else.
For sure.
So I've just been trying to pretend like none of these characters have ever seen a horror movie. So if I sneak stuff in the writing, it's there, but it's not somebody directly referencing a kill in Friday the 13th 6. Like, it's not that.
Right, you're not beating them over the head with, and I like that.
Yeah.
I have a question. What are your favorite slashers if you had to pick your top 3? And now that we're in the summer, what are your favorite summer camp slashers?
My favorite summer camp slasher of all time is Sleepaway Camp 2. I love
that one. Yeah.
I love all of those bad
Yes.
sequels to like the prom night movies. I love those things. My number one favorite slasher movie of all time is my number one favorite movie of all time, and that's Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors. My absolute favorite.
Fantastic.
I can pretend it's the original. It's not. I love the original. It's a perfect film, but it's not Dream Warriors. But Slumber Party Massacre is Slumber Party Massacre weirdly is the one that I always come back to whenever I'm writing. And the way, because if you watch those movies, there's just the girls kind of interacting in fun ways. And that's kind of how I want things to play out inside my head and then get on the page that way. But yeah, I like trashy slasher sequels more than anything.
Oh, absolutely. I do like Slumber Party Massacre 2 with the
that's my absolute
guitar.
I like Slumber Party Massacre 2 so much it's mentioned in my bio.
That's fantastic. Yes, and I love that Sleepaway Camp 2. It's Bruce Springsteen's sister.
Pamela.
People don't talk about that enough. And my favorite scene is when the girl says, "Are you looking for a gun?" And she says, "Yes, but this will do." And she pulls out a drill. Fantastic.
No, a drill in a really like cheerful voice. Because the killer in that movie is cheerful as hell, and she's fantastic.
Yes.
It's not a good movie by any means, but it's definitely a fun movie. And I think that's one of my goals is I don't think a lot of writers are trying to entertain people. I think a lot of writers may want to make, I think it was Adam Green that said, why do we want to make the people watching our movies feel bad? Like, I don't want to torture people, even if I'm writing about really, really violent, dark stuff. So I try to balance it out with humor and just sort of weirdness and just sort of elevate it. It's still like, once again, it's intense. But it's also fun. I don't know.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Does anybody have a final question? One last one before we head into the next segment?
I actually did have a thought. Again, I did say I haven't read your books, but since you guys are talking about how they're very much like actual horror movies, have you ever had the idea to maybe write one of these as a screenplay? Has that ever happened?
I never have. I've never thought about writing a screenplay. I have thought about writing a graphic novel.
Oh, okay. I'll take the graphic novel. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I think that would be really, really, really fun. Cool. But I'm not usually a huge fan of books based on movies. If that makes
Movies based on
books.
I know what you meant, like
books that are based on movies. I like stuff like that. I love novelizations. I love this was heavily inspired by, something else. Love that. Not a big fan of film adaptations. So
I get that one. I could sit here and name many we've covered over on Movie Dumpster. Some are good, but most, it's like Salem's Lot. They can't figure that one out. I'm still waiting.
Nope.
One day.
Nope. You usually have there's another podcast you do those episodes with. What is that one?
Oh, yeah. Just like a side thing over on Movie Dumpster. We call it Book to the Movie. Kind of riffing on Back to the Future, actually. And we have a buddy who does a YouTube channel where he kind of does called Taking the Page. He does that's his whole channel, comparing the novelizations to the movies, and we'll bring him on occasionally. And we covered like Batman Forever has a novelization, the Super Mario Brothers movie has a novelization, so we kind of lean a little bit more into what you're talking about. But yeah, it is kind of weird when you get to like Jurassic Park's like an anomaly, even though it's so different than the book. It's like it very rarely works out. So I guess you kind of have the right idea by not even bothering to write the screenplay.
All right.
Misery was a good book to film.
That's true.
Yes.
It's a great movie.
That was fantastic.
Planning and doing King tends to be good.
Planning being the key word there.
Yes. A short King novel. I think
that kind of sounded like I thought that Mike Flanagan directed Misery. That was he also does good adaptations of Stephen King books.
And we're getting Carrie currently in production.
Mm-hmm.
from
Oh,
Flanagan.
Don't know if you need
yeah.
more Carrie, but if it's
I
Flanagan,
know.
I'll watch it.
I will too.
I'll watch
Just
anything
Dr.
Flanagan
Sleep.
does.
Mhm.
I read a rumor that they're treating it like as though Carrie's situation were like a school shooting and she were the shooter. That could be interesting if that is true.
Interesting.
I don't know if that is real or not. It sounds cool though.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to wrap it up with a fun one. Well, you know what? Yeah. Okay. If one of your characters had to survive a classic slasher villain, who is that villain most likely to be?
Who is the villain in a classic
Yes.
slasher? Oh my God.
Which classic slasher would your main character most likely survive?
Okay. I think the most one that would likely I think Jenny from Maul Rats could take down Jason.
Oh.
I think she could. And no one can prove it otherwise.
It's totally fiction, both of them, so it doesn't I'm with you, yeah.
But she seems like the one that would be like, no, I just got to take care of this. I can't have this walking around hunting me down. And she would just kick his ass. I think with assistance, I think you would need help. But I've always wanted to add a Jason-like character to the universe. And I'm going to eventually in Tastes Like Candy 3. But
Oh, yeah. Nice little tease there for my Friday the 13th Love and Heart. Okay. All right. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for answering our questions and giving us some insight into what's in the work with you. Like Sean mentioned, he wants to look up your work. Where can people find the Jessica Lacy version of Tastes Like Candy?
Anywhere you can pre-order books. It comes out September the 9th. So right now we're doing pre-orders. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble. If you, I don't know when you can, I don't know how early you can do this, but you can request it at your library as well. Nobody's ever been able to get my books in libraries before. Now they can. So yeah, it's a pre-order.
That's awesome.
Go wherever. If you're interested, thank you. And thank you for having me and talking to me a million times.
Oh, no, I'm so glad you were here. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm glad we could finally get it out there to the public. I can't wait for more people to discover your books. It's awesome.
That's the most exciting part is that more people are going to get to read them that wouldn't have even known they existed. Because like I said, I never marketed them. I never advertised them. And now we're going to see what happens if we tell people about the books.
Yeah, all just word of mouth, which is incredible to me. That's the power of Bookstagram and positive reviews, honestly.
Yeah, I know, I thank every single person that's ever shared it or recommended it or, liked it, reviewed it. Like, that's the reason why it became popular enough to get picked up and why we're looking at 7 books with source books. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We're going to go into, we're talking about fun kills. We have in our cutting room he texted me he's running a little late. He's going to be here. But currently we have one member of the cutting room with us. So Sean from the Horror Vision, are you ready to talk about the movie you brought for us tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So Sean, kick us off. You can tell us a little bit about what you do, your show, all of that, and do what you do best.
So I'm one of the hosts of the Horror Vision, and I guess we're trying to cover like all horror, including adjacent. And at one point I even added a show that was like that's not fucking horror, because I was like, I want to cover something that's not horror, and I know people are going to be like, that's not fucking horror, so I'm like, just call it that. But we try to cover it all. Jessica comes on a lot. We do a show called Slasher Party. We worked through my co-host Missy and I. She's one of the co-hosts. We worked through all the Friday the 13th, and then Jessica joined us for the Hatchets recently, which Jessica, I just finished editing 3 and 4 today, so that'll go up next week.
Those are fun movies. If you have not seen Victor Crowley,
those are awesome movies.
Those are fantastic movies.
And keep your eye out for those episodes from the Horror Vision next week, right?
And actually, Jessica picked the next ones we're covering, which I had forgotten until I edited today, and it's the prom night, because I didn't know. She's like, we're gonna cover prom night 1 through 4. I'm like, 3 and 4? What? I had no idea there was. I mean, a third I maybe would have assumed, but 4 I had no idea. So
And
I'm
3 is the
excited for
lost
that.
one. 4 is available on streaming places. It's weird.
I found like a DVD 2-pack. I haven't ordered it yet. I don't know if it's available, but I was just image searching and I saw that. I was like, oh, how convenient if that's available. So, but yeah, we just try to cover everything. So I'm also an author, and I just love the genre, and I love community. That's like, to me, that's why I really like what you're doing here, because it's so good to talk to people that like this stuff. And the internet has been fabulous. I just think back to being, a kid, and I just had nobody to talk to. Very few friends to talk to about some of the stuff that I was into. So, I feel like we're living in a golden age. But I really wanted to talk about this movie that came out it was, I guess it was in theaters 2 months ago. It did not play by me. And I mean, you might say, well, Clarksville, Tennessee, that's not really a surprise. However, we get a lot of movies. I'm shocked. Our Regal gets a lot of stuff. So I was actually shocked we didn't get it. And this is Joshua Erkman's debut. It's called A Desert. It's right now, it's a Prime rental. I think it's either $5.99 or $6.99. This is close to being my favorite movie of the year. I've watched it 3 times so far, and I'm a big David Lynch fan. It's not. I'm not going to say it's Lynchian, but they don't give you everything. There's a lot of suggestion, and just the. It's a beautifully shot film, um, written by Bossy Baker and Joshua Erkman, and cinematographer is Jay Keitel. I'm not sure if that's Harvey Keitel's family or not. But it's basically, it starts with a guy that's on the road. He's a photographer. He had one book, like I guess a decade before, of photographs of kind of ruined buildings, and it put him on the map. And he's struggled since then. And so Kay Lennox plays this gentleman, Alex Clark. He's no GPS, no cell phone, driving through the American Southwest and just finding abandoned places to take photos of. And I'm not a photographer, so I don't know what kind of camera, what it's called, but it's one of those big cameras where you actually have to like cover there's like a hood for the person using it. And he goes into just ruined buildings and weird landscapes, takes photos, and he runs across a gentleman played by Zachary Ray Sherman and his sister, and a lot of weirdness ensues. There's direct there's direct insinuation that this Zachary Ray Sherman's character Rennie is something more than human, and then and this is the thing that like takes us from a 4 star to a 5 star movie for me. The second half of the movie, the lead character is David Yao, the front man from the Jesus Lizard, and I'm originally from Chicago, and the Jesus Lizard is the best live band of all time, and he's been in movies for years. He's in like Under the Silver Lake. He's in I Do Not Feel at Home in This World Anymore. So many movies in small roles, and I always wondered, like, somebody give this guy something more meaty, and he just knocks it out of the park. And he gets involved, and it's I don't know, it's beautiful. It's a lot about the ruin of this country and kind of nature aggressively taking things back from humanity, but nothing's overt. That's what I love, and it just takes its time. It'll drive some people crazy for sure. Like if you can't sit through Lost Highway, I'm not saying this is exactly that pace, but don't even bother. I don't think this will work for you. But yeah, I so strongly recommend it. Every time I watch it, I've not only caught something new visually or sonically, but the other night I was watching and I just had all these epiphanies about like all this nuance and these kind of metaphors and all this stuff underneath what is on the surface of the film, and you don't always get that. So it's just a fantastic movie.
Oh, I pulled up the
Cool.
IMDb and was scrolling it while you were talking. I'm definitely
Sounds awesome.
interested.
Sarah Lind is in it. She was in oh man, a year or two ago. She was in A Wounded Fawn, which is another one of my
Oh
favorite movies
yeah,
of the
that
year
was
that year.
great. I
Oh,
loved
it's
that
such
movie.
and
That was so good.
there's a similar thing where that movie has some really odd moments in it, right? Where you're
Oh, absolutely. The final
like,
act is like
oh
crazy.
yeah, it's completely insane, and
Yes.
you're wondering like, is this okay? So I'm seeing this. Are the characters seeing this? Are all the characters seeing this? This is kind of similar in a way.
Okay. Yeah, because that one starts out kind of like a survivalist in a way, right? She has the date at the guy's house, and then
Yeah. Oh
things
yeah.
go
Yeah. Yeah.
things get very strange from what I recall. Great film.
Very strange. Yeah, that's right. I was thinking at the beginning with the well, there's that like almost prelude where it's the painting auction,
Yes.
and then it leads, so that sets things up, and then it leads you into that Sarah Lind going on the date with the guy.
And the masks. There's like these crazy masks that will haunt your nightmares.
That like
Hmm.
there's just that moment where they kind of pan the camera over, and in the room adjacent to where they are in the open doorway, you see that like owl mask thing and the cloak, and the way the
Yes.
music cue comes in, it's very giallo in a way. Oh man,
Hmm.
great
So
film.
good. I need to rewatch. Sorry, I jumped in there.
No, please. I've
Cool. I've
said
got to
my
check
piece.
out Desert. I haven't heard about it. That's awesome. Nice, good description.
No, I hadn't heard of it either. My internet's being wonky, so if I interrupt somebody, sorry. Sorry about that.
Never fails, right? The connection issues.
Okay. So, Sean, anything else you want to throw out there? Where is it best for people to find you and the Horror Vision and what you do?
Really, we're on all podcast streaming platforms, and I put a lot of work into the YouTube shows. I try to add visuals as well because I really like editing, and yeah, I just kind of go all out with that. So really, YouTube or Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Um, we're on Instagram, but I'm awful at social media. So
Yeah,
the world.
you should post something about the episodes that I do so I can repost them.
Well, I know Missy posts most of the stuff.
It can't be shared because her account's private.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. So I get in the habit of posting stuff and then I fall out of
Mhm.
it. It's like usually the state of the world. I'm like, oh God. And I just ignore social media for a while. So
I get that. I get that. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sean. Anything else you want to throw out there before we go to the next?
no.
All right. Awesome. It was great to have you. And we're going, since we're still waiting on David from Journey with the Cinephile to show up, we're going to jump. That means the Curio Cabinet. So, Aaron, this is your spot. You ready?
Awesome. I'm so ready. So like last time, if you were here,
It's all you,
last
man.
time. Excellent. Here we go. So like last time, I went through some independent films that I've watched recently. I had most of the physical copies last time, but these are newer films that I've watched in the last month, mostly independent films. It's nice to give a shout out to them. And I'm going to run through them pretty quickly. I have 8 films I'm going to suggest. If anyone has seen them, I'd love for you to jump in. The first one is called Bark by Mark Schulerman, and it is about a man who wakes up tied to a tree in the forest, and he has no idea how he got there. So imagine that. It's like one of those films you can immediately put yourself into the shoes of this main character. I'm getting chills thinking about it. And then it goes in a direction that I didn't expect. And I've got to say, if anyone has seen it, I've got to say the ending was a complete surprise and it stayed with me for days. Has anyone seen Bark? Excellent. Okay, well, check out Bark. This one is
I have
available
not.
on Prime. I rented it on Prime, so you can check it out there.
To be honest, based on the title, I get Bark and Good Boy mixed up just because Bark is what a dog does and Good Boy is about a dog. So just not knowing that much about either of them, I often got them mixed up. But good to know the distinction now.
It's so good. There's a little bit of a play on words. I don't want to give anything away, but imagine if you had to consume bark, let's say, to stay alive. Just think about that. Let's see. So the next one, actually, I should have mentioned, I'm from A&B Horror Movies. You can check out my channel on YouTube. I do a lot of interviews. Recently, I've had Lloyd Kaufman on from Trauma. I talked to Rhonda Shear, if you remember Rhonda Shear from the 90s, USA Up All Night with Gilbert Gottfried, which was fantastic to chat with her. I just chatted with Lynn Lowry yesterday, so stay tuned for that. She was in Shivers, Cronenberg Shivers, and oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. I'll come back to it. Ramiro's The Crazies from the 70s. She was in some fantastic 70s films, so it was absolutely amazing to chat with her. And I also talk with a lot of independent directors. So some of the folks on this list I've either spoken to, so stay tuned for those interviews, or they're coming up. So often what I do is I'll watch these independent films, and if I really like them, I'll reach out to the directors and set up an interview. So that's what I'm doing. And I've started having guest co-hosts on to help me interview. So if anyone here is interested, Tim just joined recently. We interviewed Jennifer Reeder, who directed Perpetrator.
Yep.
And GC, I think you're still on. You are joining in a couple weeks to interview. Actually, I'm going to get to it. I'll come back to that because it's on my list. All right, so back to my list. Actually, one more thing. You can also find me on Instagram, AB Horror Movies, and Aaron's Movies 8587. I'm on there a lot more than I should be. Okay.
Are you on Letterboxd?
I am, but I don't really go on Letterboxd all that much. I know I should. I should. Okay, let's see.
If you don't follow Aaron is so prolific. It's amazing. I tell him that all the time. He has so many interviews dropping with so many interesting people. You definitely got to go check him out.
You're too kind.
I second that.
It's been amazing. I never would have imagined I'd get to talk to some of the people that I have talked to. It's been a humbling experience. And the next movie I want to talk about is one that I just watched, I guess last week, and it's probably one of my favorite ones that I've seen in a while, and it is called Nightfall, A Paranormal Investigation. It's about two paranormal investigators in the 80s who get into a case that's way over their heads, and it's terrifying. It was one of those films, I watched it by myself in my basement with the lights out, and I kept looking over my shoulder, especially in the final act. It is so damn scary. Again, Nightfall, A Paranormal Investigation. I don't think this one is streaming yet. It's directed by two guys out of Australia, Miles McEwen and Ripley Stevens. Like I said, it's not streaming, but keep your eyes open for this one. Next, I've got Abduct by Chris Riggy. This one is on Fossum and Prime Video. It's more of a sci-fi horror comedy psychological thriller. It's about an hour long. It's fairly short, but I loved it. It's basically about a group of friends. They go away on a weekend getaway, and the woman's boyfriend is abducted and returns in another man's body. So think about that for a moment. And the ending is really cool. I didn't expect the ending of this one. So that's Abduct. Has anyone seen Abduct? I know this one is streaming at the moment. It's on Fossum and Prime Video.
I started watching it because I thought that was Zoe Leah Thompson's daughter. I can't think of her name. I thought it was a completely different actress in the poster, and I was mad that it wasn't. So
it's not her.
It.
Yeah. Oh.
If you look, what is her name? Zoe Deutsch. Zoe Deutsch.
Yes. No, it's not her, but it does look like her.
It looks exactly like her, to the point where I feel like they did that on purpose. But if you say it's worth finishing, I'll finish it because it is short.
It's short, and there's a twist that I didn't see coming. It takes a turn. In fact, I did sit down with the writer and director, and it was very difficult to do the interview because we didn't want to give any spoilers. It's like, well, how do we talk about this twist? So I would check out Abduct. Another one that I watched recently that I loved is called Marshmallow. This is streaming on Prime. I suspect some folks here have seen this one already. There's a lot of buzz around it. It's a really smart summer camp slasher with an unexpected ending, and I really enjoyed it. That is directed by Daniel Del Purgatorio, and like I said, you can watch it on Prime. Okay, three more. The next one
I'm a
is
sucker for a summer camp slasher.
It's good. I think you'll like it. Add it to your list. Next up, I've got a movie
right.
called Ketchup
Okay.
on Waffles.
It's on my list.
Okay, perfect. Ketchup on Waffles. This is by John Thiessen. I don't think it's streaming yet, but it's a fantastic film. It's basically about a group of friends who go into a diner and decide they're going to start killing everyone inside. So let that sink in. It's very trauma-esque in a lot of ways, but it's also a lot of fun, like trauma films are. I think that movie is going to get a lot of attention. It's not streaming yet, but check out Ketchup on Waffles. Three more. For Sale by Exorcist, and this is by Melissa and Chris LaMartina. So if you like the WNUF films, the Out There Halloween tape movie, What Happens Next Will Scare You, this is the new film from them. Melissa LaMartina directs, and Chris LaMartina wrote the script, and it's hysterical. It's more comedy than horror, but it's basically about a real estate agent who flips houses after she exorcises the demons that live inside. It's quite funny. And she decides she's going to try to find her forever home, and then things don't go as planned. So check out For Sale by Exorcist. It's on Tubi, Plex, and Fossum. I highly recommend that one.
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun.
Yes, I don't know who said that, but it's so
Yeah, that
I
was
caught it
a
at a film
fun
festival. Yeah,
David's with us
Oh,
now.
you did. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It was fun. I chatted with Chris and Melissa recently. I haven't posted that video yet, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Next, I have Sugarcane, and this is one I just watched this week. It's on Plex, Tubi, and Prime. It's directed by Pat Baker and Daryl Postley Jr., and it's basically about a serial killer who kidnaps women and then on the dark web lets people bid on how they would like him to torture and kill them. So let that sit in for a moment. Very dark, but it's really well done. The pacing is good. I liked it. So Sugarcane. And then lastly, and this is the one that GC and I were going to interview the director next week. And I do have a physical copy. It's called Pater Noster and the Mission of Light. Kind of a horror comedy. It's about a cult cult from the 70s, and they disappeared until now, and they invite a group of youths to come visit their cult, and things don't go as planned. There's some catchy songs in it. It's quite a trip, and it's what independent films should be. I love this one. I think Amazon has 2 more copies of it if you want to get a Blu-ray, at least as of this morning. And that's it. You can rent this one on Prime, or you can get a physical copy. And those are the 8 movies I wanted to recommend this month. Actually, let me just read them through quickly. So Bark.
You always okay.
I'll just read them through. Bark.
Go for it.
Nightfall, Paranormal Investigation, Abduct, Marshmallow, Ketchup on Waffles, For Sale by Exorcist, Sugarcane, and Pater Noster and the Mission of Light. Those are my 8 recommendations this time around.
So if you added a movie to your watch list after watching Aaron talk about his list of 8 movies, that is exactly why I have invited Aaron every time, because his social media is filled with him recommending movies like this. And I'm always like, I need to have time to watch this one because he makes them all sound so good. And Aaron, thank you so much.
I try. Yes. If anyone saw Looky Lou, because that was my top recommendation last time, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Looky Lou. Oh, Evan's raising his hand.
I tried to convince my wife.
I did.
I don't know if I'd watch it.
I liked
with
it.
My wife. Yeah, it's good.
I have this sitting on my shelf.
Go ahead.
Really?
All right. So.
Oh, we lost him.
I think someone said they had them because I had the director and writer. I interviewed them too a couple weeks ago. I think someone was saying that, but I'm not sure who it was.
I have it on my shelf, actually.
On your shelf. Okay.
Yeah, we one of the other guys on our show really, really liked it. So we did an episode where he was trying to convince me it wasn't going to cross my lines, or if it did, that it was worth it. And so we put the episode up, and then actually, I think it was the writer reached out to us on Instagram, so we wanted to have them on. I just rewatched Straight Edge Kager. The other, is it Jason Zink is the director?
It is Jason Zink. Yes.
Yeah. So I rewatched Straight Edge Kager, and then which is fantastic, and then I'm going to do Looky Lou probably maybe tonight, but yeah, I don't really want my girlfriend to watch that one until I have gone
No,
through with it.
I would watch it by yourself. It's
Yeah.
very creepy, unnerving, and it's a trilogy. So I think they're almost done with part two,
Oh
and they're
wow.
going to film a third one. So
Oh,
check
that's
it out.
awesome.
Maniac vibes. I loved it. Anyway, Tim, I'll stop talking. Did I go over 10 minutes? I don't know.
No, you're good. You're right at 10 minutes. So I'm all here.
Okay,
I'm here for the conversation. That's what I want. So I love it. But Kelsey, are you ready to go next?
I'm good
All
to
right.
go.
So next up, okay, this is all you. You have your platform now. It's all you. Go.
Great. I am going to be talking about slasher books because to me, when you're talking about books, summertime screams a couple of things. Slasher books, slasher movies as well. And also, you got great coming of age books that just give me summer vibes. And also animal attack books. But we're talking slashers today because I just think that is just peak summertime. And I'm also going to be talking about a few Giallo adjacent books that I have read and do recommend because now summertime is going to remind me of Giallo movies because I am a co-host for the second year of an event called Giallo July. This is the brainchild of my friend and co-host Alex, the Bookubus. You could find her on YouTube, on Instagram, the Bookubus. And she came up with 4 prompts all based on Giallo movies. And the idea is to obviously watch Giallo movies, but also to read books that are like crime, mystery, thriller. I said, that's all good and fine because Giallo, when it comes to how it relates to books, does relate more to mystery crime, pulp books. But when I think Giallo movies, I think of slashers. So I said, I'm going to read slashers. I'm just making it fit together. So that's why I'm combining slasher books today and Giallo adjacent books. All right, so we got a few to get through. I'm going to try
Perfect.
to not take too long. But of course, we have to start off with the author formerly known as Ivy Tholen, aka Jessica. I think any of her books are great slasher books to start with. Like I said, very few authors can make a book feel like a movie. It's a very honed skill, and I feel like more movie lovers, specifically more horror movie lovers, would be book lovers if they read more books like this. Because I think what is missing is that feel of, oh, this feels fast paced. Maybe people, no shade to King, but maybe people who like movies just try King and they're like, this is kind of long-winded, like this is a little too much. Like, I think this is a perfect kind of in-between fun thing that anybody who likes a fun movie slasher could really get into. Like I said, my 2 favorites, Taste Like Candy and Mother Dear, but look out for those re-releases that Jessica talked about. All right, and then after that, since we talked a little bit about summer camp and summer camp slashers, I do have a few summer camp themed books here. The first one, which is probably my second favorite slasher book, is Under the Blade by Matt Serafini. This one's really, really underrated. It definitely has Friday the 13th vibes. It's about a woman who survives a massacre at a camp she was a counselor at, but many years later, she decides to go back and write a book about her experience. And yeah, that might seem like a bad idea. You're right, it is a bad idea. But it sounds typical slasher fodder. There's more that happens and develops at the end. Really, really like this book. Underrated as hell. No one talks about it. Worth picking up. Very unique slasher. Then we have slashers that are comedic and fun. Think heavyweights, like, Disney heavyweights, but in book form and with some slashing involved. We got Fat Camp.
Excellent movie.
Yes, exactly. A deli meat? Anyway, he finds a deli meat in the kid's cabin. Fat Camp by James Sabata. There is a lot of juvenile humor. Like I said, the fart jokes are there, just like Disney's heavyweights. However, there's a lot of heart in this, and there's great kills in it too. So don't be put off by the name. You might think, oh, is there like fat shaming and stuff? It's actually really, really powerful and well thought out, and the place the author is coming from is not like a negative, mean place, like criticizing people's looks. This is a great book. It's got a lot to it, and I never hear anyone talk about it. But shout out to my friend Cameron Chaney, who's a fellow author, horror author. He told me about that book. If you're looking for something with heart,
Is that Autumn Crow?
Yes, Autumn Crow, yes. And that, if you want Halloween vibes during
Yeah.
the summer, it's not a slasher per se, but it is a collection of great stories, all kinds of stories, super hardcore Halloween feels. And also, he has a first book
Mhm.
in a series called Autumn Crow High Fresh Hell, which definitely has really great horror movie vibes as well. He's someone who can write like you're reading a horror movie too, Cameron Chaney. But yeah, he has great recommendations too. So some of these books I found out from him, other ones I just discovered on my own, but one that reminds me a little bit of Tastes Like Candy in that it's got a lot of character development. You're not just getting into the slashing, is Slash by Hunter Shea. This guy is going through grief from losing his wife, and he decides to go where she essentially lost her life. It was like investigating this area and oh wait, no, I'm sorry. This has been a few years since I read this. He goes back to the place where she survived like a big massacre, trying to look for clues about if the killer's still around. This one's really unique because it's got a lot of grief in it and a lot of development, but the slashing's really great too. So this one's unique and definitely worth checking out. If you're looking for something that is very meta, I think that Curse of the Reaper by Brian McCauley is a good one. He also has a Christmassy slasher series that he released about a year and a half ago. There's 2 books out now in the series, and those are great. But this one you could read any time of the year. We are following an actor who is the star of a horror movie franchise, a slasher franchise, but he ends up getting replaced as the lead character, and he starts kind of almost acting like the slasher character. So what is going on? Can he be trusted? What's going down? This one's really great. Yes, it is so good. It's also I just think really underrated. Not a lot of people talk about this one either. If you're looking for more,
Can I chime in here?
of course.
I love Curse of the Reaper. Curse of the Reaper. I don't know how you felt when reading it. The character was written to me like Jason, who he's
Yes.
portraying in the movies.
Yes.
Jason, but played by Robert Englund.
Yes. Yes.
Like the actor himself reminded me more of Robert. And I'm reading that book going, this would be the best way to reboot. I hate reboots, remakes, all that. But that book used as the vessel to bring back Freddy. So good. That book is very clever. Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent book.
Yeah, I love that book. I think a lot more people should be talking about it. It's just really, really unique, and I love all like the meta references. So I'm not someone who shies away from meta stuff. Yeah, it could get a little over the top sometimes with references, but sometimes I like it. It's a nice little fun
Yeah.
wink and nod, so that doesn't bother me. But more summer camp kind of themed books, and this is Adam Caesar. So I'm not going to be talking about Clown in a Cornfield. You guys might know Adam Caesar. He's the author of the book that now it's been adapted into a film. I haven't seen the film yet, but I'm actually not a huge fan of Clown in a Cornfield. However, I've loved everything else I've ever read from Adam Caesar, and he actually has a lot of great books that read like movies, a lot like Jessica does. So this one's a great one with some slasher vibes. The Con Season, it takes place at an abandoned, like closed down summer camp, and they're hosting a convention, and they get like this old school horror movie actress to come, and they end up trying to recreate like an actual slashing kind of scenario at the camp as an experience kind of thing. And she has to contend with the people. And I know it's kind of counterintuitive because she's got a shotgun on the cover, but trust me, the vibes are there. Like the Friday the 13th-esque vibes are kind of there. It's a little different, but if you want another meta book, but it's a short novella. This one is really, really fun. Another guy who writes really great, easy to absorb horror novels, Jeff Strand, always has comedy in his novels. This one's 20th anniversary screening, and I love it because it's kind of like a mockumentary style. Like it's written like an internet article examining like a slasher franchise and how it was like a cursed franchise, and they were bringing it back into theaters and like crazy stuff was happening. So this one's really, really great, really clever. Jeff Strand, if you're looking for something that's not a slasher and you just want some fun, like laugh out loud humor, Clowns versus Spiders, probably the funniest book I've ever read. You like Animal Attack and Clowns, or one or the other? That one will do you fine. And,
Count me in.
I promise I'm almost done with the slasher books, but If you're looking for an old school book, because I do collect paperbacks from hell, if you guys are familiar, Grady Hendrix coined that term. It's just a term for vintage horror books that are a little lesser known. Joyride, this one's rare, it's kind of hard to find, but if you ever come across it in the wild, especially for a cheap price, pick it up. This is Joyride by Stephen Fry, and you don't see a lot of slashers that are this old. Let me just confirm the publishing year, but first printing July 1983. So you see a lot of influx of slasher books now because the people who grew up watching the golden era of slasher movies are now adults writing these slasher books or odes to slasher movies. Exactly. But back in the day, you don't get a lot of that because, people were living in it. So not a lot of adult writers were seeing that in the theater and copying it. But this one's really good. It's nothing super special, but it's just really well done. You do get the POV of the killer, and I don't know. It's a well-written old school novel, and you can't say that about all paperbacks from hell. Trust me, I've read a lot of them. Some of them are literal trash, but this is like good trash, if you will.
Is it like the movie Joyride with Paul Walker?
Oh no.
No. Okay, there's no candy cane in that one.
I think it's a little better than that movie.
Oh, a little better. Okay.
Just a little. All right, and one last slasher book, and then I'll move on to my giallos. Actually, two. All right, so if you want a creature feature mixed with slashing vibes, we've got Children of the Dark by Johnathan Jans, and there is a sequel out to this that was just, I think, released on Amazon this last year, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe. But I've got to read the sequel. I enjoyed this when I read it a couple of years ago. Definitely heavy summer vibes, kids coming of age, going against big baddies and also monsties. So you got kind of a twofer there. And last but not least, if you want a great female main character, we've got Escape from Happydale. It is a trilogy of books, but this one's really fun. We've got a final girl who goes on to help other people survive like slasher attacks. So she goes around and basically goes head to head with any kind of slasher she can find and saves other, or in fact kind of creates other final girls because she saves them. So yeah, those are my slasher books. If you have any questions about any, let me know. I could try to answer them, but some of them it's been years since I've read, but I've enjoyed all of these. I endorse all of these, and great slasher vibes. All very different, though, for the most part.
Cool.
All right, and now if you're in the mood for giallo vibes or Italian vibes in general, literally, I just found out this existed. This is the New York Ripper 2 graphic novel. So it's like a sequel to the New York Ripper by Fulci, which is so freaking sleazy, but kind of amazing. Yeah. And
where's the duck mask? That's what I want to see.
actually on the cover.
Oh, too funny. Oh my
awesome.
gosh.
I don't think I can even show you because it's so sleazy on the inside. I have not read this yet, but I just wanted to show you that it exists.
That's so cool.
Where is this from? Vinegar Syndrome? I can't remember where.
Ivon Press does those. They were
yeah.
for a while they were partnered with Vinegar Syndrome, and then they just relaunched. Their stuff is really good. They have a lot of Fulci stuff, and they have a sequel to what do you call it? The Beyond.
Oh yeah,
It's not done yet.
I love the Beyond, and I know you guys mentioned the Beyond on last week's episode or last month's episode. So yeah, I love the Beyond. So I would love to read a sequel to that.
They're a great company.
Yeah. So
will they get out of the painting though? That's what we have to find out.
I think
gotta see
Read the book.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's my first rec, and I think this is the only one that I have not read. So just beware. I can't personally endorse it, but I know that it's sleazy. So just be aware when you go into it. All right, and then we've got a couple of literally giallo-inspired books. You can tell by the yellow cover. So giallo in Italian means yellow. The reason why that became associated with books with yellow covers is because the publishing company Mondadori in Italy in the 1920s, they started to republish American mystery crime novels in Italian with yellow covers. So hence why these two odes to giallo, these are modern kind of odes to giallo, both of these have yellow covers with, yes, black Glove Killers. So my first one will be David Sodergren. I mentioned him earlier, talking about how he writes like horror movie in a way. And this one's super bleak. I love this one. I gave this one 5 stars. Not everyone I know gave this 5 stars. Some people were like, it's too bleak. I was like, is there such a thing as too bleak? I don't know. No. Bring on the bleakness, bitch, I guess. So next up, we've got 5 Deaths of 7 Songbirds. Now, the kills aren't the greatest thing ever, but they are fun. So you've got a group of students who form a school band in college. They're studying abroad, and they're getting picked off one by one. The mystery, like in Giallo sometimes, it's not really like the most important part of it. It's all about vibes. When I read this, I listened to the soundtrack of Deep Red while I was reading this, and it was freaking amazing. It was the greatest experience ever. So, I don't know, if you're kind of like into maybe listening to a movie soundtrack while reading, that might be a good pairing for you because like on its own, is it the greatest book ever? No. But if you're looking for Giallo vibes, put on that freaking Deep Red soundtrack, blast that goblin, and read this bad boy. Great stuff. And then
Fantastic.
Goblin's always good.
oh my god, yes, I saw them perform like live here. It was amazing. It was incredible. So my last things, and I swear I'm done. I know there's a lot of books. You're like, shut up. I don't even read, but I can read because it's fun, you know? And there's like a lot of stuff that I feel like if horror movie peeps would give books a chance, they would love them because I was someone who only thought I liked movies. I was like, I'm not a reader. But then I discovered there's more out there in the horror realm of books than Stephen King. Not totally bashing King. I like a lot of King's books, but they're not for every person, especially people who are not sure they're readers. So anyway, if you're looking for Italian vibes that is not Giallo, this is just like Italian horror vibes. Specifically, if you're looking for Lucio Fulci, odes to him, the director. The Final Gate, short little novella, quick, fast-paced, definitely Italian horror vibes, and literally says it's an homage to Lucio Fulci. And another David Sodergren book, And By God's Hand You Shall Die. Out of all the Sodergren books, his books are getting more popular these days, but I feel like this one would not appeal to the masses like a lot of his other books do because it's super sleazy, kind of like Italian horror in a great way. So yeah, this has a lot of religious elements, you know, sexual elements, but creepy zombies as well, and it is also a literal ode to Lucio Fulci. And Adam Caesar also has an ode to Fulci and Italian horror, and he has his book Tribesmen, which is a literal homage, I believe, to Cannibal Holocaust. So think that, but in book form.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and I did forget, the last thing I want to mention, if you're looking for a horror movie tie-in, I recommend the Jason Strain because it is so over the top. You've got freaking a shark and Jason battle. You got these people sent to an island to be on a reality TV show, and the whole goal is to survive Jason, but also like, you know, the elements on the island. But it's so ridiculous. Jason comes across this TV agent and he's like trying to compel Jason to not kill him, and he's like, Jason, baby, come on, I can make you money, baby. Now this book is hard to find. However, I gotta shout out the wonderful YouTube channel, the Slash Tracks Network. He's also known as the 80s librarian, the 80s horror librarian. He makes audiobooks of really hard to find old school horror movie novelizations and horror movie tie-in books. So if you're looking for some rare things, especially like we're talking Friday the 13th novelizations, we're talking Halloween novelization, those books go for a pretty penny if you look online, but he's got audiobooks of all of those books on his channel for free. Great channel. The Jason Strain, hilarious narration, can't recommend it enough. If you're looking for a cheese fest that is totally like horror movie vibes but in book form, the Jason Strain. And that is my list.
Awesome.
For what's his name? The horror librarian? Is that what the alternative title? His alternative
the Slash Tracks, the 80s horror library. 80s slasher librarian.
Yes. I've listened to some of the Nightmare on Elm Street books on his channel.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great stuff on there.
My TBR just grew by like 15 books at least.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Sodergren is interesting. I just discovered him. I follow him on Instagram. I think it's Paperbacks and Pugs.
Yes, he's got a pug, and like that's his publishing company.
Yeah,
He loves his pug. His name is Boris. He just had a birthday.
yeah.
Yeah, he's great. And by the way, he is a horror movie fan, just like Jessica, just like Adam Caesar. So I think there is a reason why all of those three authors can write really like you're, you know, absorbing a movie, but in book form. I think it's because, all of them are horror movie fans. Now, he's got a great taste in giallo. However, I gotta call David Sodergren out. We don't agree on Letterboxd other movie ratings. He gave The Goonies 2 stars. He gave one of my favorite freaking new crazy Shaw Brothers movies that I just discovered, The Boxer's Omen. He gave that 2 stars as well, and he was like, whatever. I was like, how could you give this movie 2 stars? And it was, I can't even believe that he gave it 2 stars. The Goonies, that, and he gave Midsommar 1 star. I'm like, David Sodergren. Anyway, that's my whole running gag is how he doesn't even know I'm out here bashing his movie ratings on Letterboxd, but all of my Patreon members know I do it. It's a running thing now. So David Sodergren, if you happen to ever see this, I love you as an author. I'm so sorry. I'm just joking about our differences in movie taste, but yeah.
It's live. I can't edit it. So
I don't care. But also, if you're looking for a different kind of giallo, Shaw Brothers did. There's a great kind of giallo style Shaw Brothers movie called Corpse Mania. It's so good. I just watched it for the first time this year, and I found out about it from my friend again, author Cameron Chaney, author of Autumn Crow. He was like, "Oh, this was really fun." It's about, but be warned, it's like this guy who's into necrophilia, and but it's definitely got giallo artsy vibes and shit. It's wonderful.
awesome. Thank you so much, Kelsey. So much good stuff.
Thank you.
So much good stuff. We're going to jump back to the cutting room. David is with us now. David, you had some special screeners you got access to, right?
Yeah, that is correct. First, sorry that I was late. I can't, I guess, put stuff in my my calendar properly, so that kind of explained what was going on there. But yeah, I actually, one of the companies that usually sends me screeners, they had some movies that were at Raindance Film Festival, and when I tried to get the screeners they were talking about, they were like, "Oh, we got to see if you can get them through this," and I somehow got accredited for it, and they had a ton of horror films, so I ran through and I was just going to kind of give a little bit of information on some of these and then highlight 3 of them that I thought were especially quite interesting. Since we had a heavyweights reference earlier, the first one I'm going to bring up here is D4 Melody and American Nightmare. This is kind of like a stream of consciousness inspired by American Psycho. But the big thing here is that one of the co-stars is Sean Weiss, is a character in this one where he is playing a sleazy agent that our killer is trying to get his way back to, but he feels like he needs to kill people to level up before he confronts this guy. So this one was, my biggest issue with it is it's over 2 hours long, but because of just how well they edit some of this stuff and how surreal it goes, it was quite an interesting watch, actually. One I wanted to at least give credit to was the movie called Hole. This one is actually the first film I've ever seen from Slovenia. This one, a little bit lighter on the horror elements, but it's 2 people they're con artists, and their next mark, the girl of the group actually accidentally kills her, but it turns out she's not dead. As they're digging a hole to bury her, she gets away, so they have to figure out where she is in the woods before they can leave. Another one that was making its world premiere at this film festival was called Loner. This one is a guy who's kind of dealing with some personal issues, and he ends up winning this cabin that's out in the middle of the woods. This one is very Blair Witch Project inspired, where he's by himself, but he's kind of streaming all this stuff, like recording it to show later. And he actually encounters this young woman who wants to be let into his cabin one night, and he denies her that, but then he starts getting haunted by kind of what happens there, and there could actually be something supernatural in the woods around him. And then kind of we were talking a little bit about giallo. There is one that is definitely heavily inspired by that, and that is it's Saturnalia. I guess this is actually a real festival that happened in Italy at some point. But this one is definitely pretty much taking vibes of Suspiria, where we have a young lady who goes to a boarding school, and there could be a secret that's hidden within this one. And I have to give credit to the filmmaking team here because I actually went out and got Claudio Simonetti to do the score of this one, even though not his best work, but still kind of a fun thing when you're going to do a lot of, Giallo inspired stuff there. But the three that I really wanted to kind of highlight was the first one is The Invisible Half. This one is from Japan, and it's almost this director kind of paying homage to like the J horror stuff that came out in the 2000s, where we have this young woman she's half Japanese, half British, but she's living in Japan, so she's bullied for it. And she ends up going to a new school, and while she's there, there's this other girl who is bullied, and something happens where some of these mean girls actually prank this girl, and then she disappears. Well, it seems like there might have been an entity following her, and the only way you can see this entity is you have to have a smartphone with earbuds in, because you can actually hear it coming towards you when that is in. So nobody can kind of see this, and we actually get some pretty cool scenes where very It Follows type thing, where somebody will get attacked and only our main character can see it, but she's also not safe and anybody who's kind of around her as well. So that one really surprised me, and I actually think this made its world premiere there. So that's one. I'm not sure of distribution on any of these offhand, but that would be one that I would definitely kind of keep an eye out for if you are a J horror fan.
What was that one again?
The Invisible Half. And then the next one is a anthology film from Bangladesh, first film I've ever seen from this country as well. What was kind of interesting here is that this anthology has 4 stories. I think this one might be available on YouTube already. I think he released it in parts, and then they kind of just compiled it here for this to kind of play together. But this one is just kind of very interesting because personally did not know a whole lot about like their culture, but this one definitely takes a lot of stuff from like India, where there's like one of them that just jumps into a musical out of nowhere. And it was actually a lot of fun with what they do there, because that story actually is a little village where everybody is like either an artist or can sing. They just have some sort of talent, but there's a little girl who doesn't. And there is a group of butchers that live in the forest that if she doesn't learn how to sing by her 8th birthday, which is the next day, they are going to decide what to do to her. But there's a lot of these stories here that they compile a lot of the Muslim faith, and then also kind of pagan ideas. I think kind of plays very well, because there's one of the stories actually has a man who is married to a woman, and they have a reoccurring theme here where every morning we're seeing his wife make him his coffee, and then he gets up, he's very rude to her, goes into his office to write. But we actually feel like that this guy actually might be something supernatural, where he whispers into people's ears to tell them to do bad things. And we kind of see how this plays out. And there's really kind of just more to how these two are actually connected. And then the first story, though, I really kind of wanted to bring up when I actually was watching it is that we have these group of guys who are paid to desecrate a temple. And when they do this, every time that it comes to the hours that they're supposed to do their prayers, this entity comes after one of them. And it ends up staging the deaths where to everybody outside, it looks like it's an accident. But when we actually see it is that something will happen that'll draw them to do something. And I'll just say the first one is a guy's going to touch this girl that we saw earlier. And then he ends up sticking his fingers into like a light socket. So it's kind of stuff like that where they really kind of go brutal with the effects on that one. So that's one of the big things that never seen a movie from Bangladesh. And I mean, they're coming out pretty strong here with what they were showing there.
It sounds like kind of like not quite Final Destination, but kind of that level of overkill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep, we're kind of doing that. And there was another one that when I was writing my review, I can't think of what it kind of made me think of, but yeah, it's really playing with like, and I think it's great that they do this, is that we see what the victim sees, but then you're seeing it from like what everybody else sees. And it's just kind of cool how playing with that type of reality and perception of reality. And then the last one I wanted to bring up is another one that this one is a Ecuador and United States co-production, and it's called Shaman, where we have these group of missionaries go to Ecuador and they are converting kind of the populace. There is a Catholic priest that's there helping them. And this is a family where there is a husband who is a recovering drug addict, and then the mother is the one who's really kind of like spearheading what they're doing, and they have a teenage son. And he ends up going into this cave that the local populace that does not follow Christianity wants everybody to avoid, because there's an entity that lives in there, and if you kind of enter the cave, you break its seal and can get out. Now, this kid ends up becoming possessed, and the mother believes it is the local shaman and his followers that did something to her son. Now, she doesn't believe, and her husband is more of just telling her, like, hey, he's sick, like, we need to get him help, where she is convinced that something, was fed to him, something bad happened. The only issue that I have with this one is it kind of gets a little bit generic with a lot of possession films that you see, but I did find it quite interesting to kind of follow this religion that is more localized to this area. And where this cave actually is located is that there is a volcano nearby, which they make some for great exterior shots as they kind of show that kind of mountain like looming in the background there. But kind of was another one that I wanted to showcase just because of the fact that it's from another country that I've never seen a movie from. So got to give a credit to this film festival for kind of expanding that type of horizon.
Yeah, you definitely brought the international flavors in movies to us tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Out of those, what is your top, like, if we see this title available, we need to watch it right away? Which one would you recommend above them?
I would probably end up saying the one that really kind of stuck out to me the most was that Dewey Shaw, the one from Bangladesh, just because of the anthology portion of it really kind of was cool because it runs over 2 hours, but because they're broken up into segments, it doesn't feel like it. And there is a good flow to how the stories go together. And I think that sometimes is an issue for anthologies, but being that it's the same filmmaking team, it's more like Creepshow where it's like, okay, they know the vibe they're going for. And even like the more comedic one still fit.
Okay. Awesome. Great stuff, David.
Thank you.
All right. Evan, you ready for your spotlight?
Why not, huh?
All right, Evan, I have no idea what you have for us. What have you got for us, Evan?
So what I brought to you guys today is not technically horror movies, but what I brought is horror video games and horror video game news. Everybody wants to get a little bit nerdy, and sometimes the way to get nerdy is by playing video games. We could watch movies all damn day long, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta shut your brain off and go to a whole nother place. And the way to do it is by playing some horror video games. It's the shit I love. And I'm sure everybody else can love too. With that, some of these are games that they've not been released. Some have been released. I've brought in 7 Days to Die. It's been updated with new types of things going on in it, with extreme weather. Pretty much you're dying of heat, cold, radiation damage. If you're kind of like I'd say like Fallout kind of thing, you like to see bad shit happen to you, that's what this is doing now. This is also a zombie game. So not only are you trying to survive the elements, you're also trying to survive past these zombies, which is a new inclusion, was something called a plague spitter. And it was released actually today. Like the update was today.
So you haven't gotten to play it yet?
I have not gotten to play it yet. I've been sitting here trying to write notes and stuff like that, just trying to put my brain to it. But what I have been able to play recently is Phasmophobia. I don't know if any of y'all know anything about that game. It is... You ever felt like being a ghost hunter? Or you like watching people hunt ghosts and you don't have to die? Well,
yeah.
This is the perfect game for you. Unfortunately, you can die in the game, but you ain't gonna die in real life. So with this it's an updated game, and it's got a nice little update. Just makes things a lot harder. You're gonna die regardless. I try to play as hard as I can, and every time I'm dead, or I've got somebody else that I'm trying to kill, and I just kind of am an asshole and leave them in the house. But what I wanted to bring is that Blumhouse has now started making video games. I know this can be a little bit hard on some people.
That's
to
good
say,
news or
well,
bad news.
That's
depending on who
kind
you
of what
are.
I was getting at. Was some people could be, one way or the other on it, but so Blumhouse is working with this new independent Spanish team, Vermilla Studios, to bring us something called Chrysal, Theater of Idols. It's a first-person horror survival game set in a demented version of Spain that's filled with monsters of modern folklore. You have to go through murderous marionettes and giant, ornately adorned skeletons that are hunting you through the dark streets and towering Gothic buildings. So if you're looking for Gothic, you're looking for dark Spanish type of feeling, this is it. What I think was kind of funny when I got to see a video about it was, instead of trying to gain ammunition when you're playing game, is you're actually taking blood from humans and chickens. So, you gotta sometimes Aqua Teen Hunger Force Anarias that chicken. To refuel your health bar as well as your guns. But that will be out later this year on stream, on PS5, Xbox, whatever. Next thing I had was Eyes of Hellfire, which is also Blumhouse as well. It's based on real Irish legends of the society known as the Hellfire Club, but you play in an abandoned Gothic lodge. I don't know too much about it. I've tried to watch a little bit about it, but really, in reality, I've too much to say. Really, in reality, yeah. But you got early access on that in August 2025. But what I did get excited about was Resident Evil 9. We are back in Raccoon City after 30 years. Oh,
Return.
Cool.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Requiem. Yeah.
Not all you.
I saw you, Tim, doing that. I didn't know if I needed to stop talking or.
No, 9. I was holding up 9.
Oh,
I was
9,
holding up 9.
Yeah. It's Resident Evil 9 Requiem, which is it was shown at the June 6th Summer Game Fest. Unfortunately, the release date is going to be in February of 2026.
That's
but
a good
you
thing,
actually follow.
That's a great thing. Actually, we shouldn't be complaining about it being in 2026. Let them work on the game. The last couple were really good. Just keep it rolling. That's a good thing.
That is true. I do, but I would like it a little bit quicker.
Sure,
but yeah, you're right. Work out all the bugs.
Selfishly,
but with this, but now you play as a new protagonist, FBI agent Grace Ashcroft. So I'm sorry to anybody who was a Leon and Ada fans from Resident Evil 4 and 2. We ain't getting it that way.
If you played the last two, they set this up pretty heavily. She's like the main character's daughter from the last game. So I'm kind of excited. She has kind of like powers and shit. It's been a couple years since Village came out, but she could do some stuff. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to play in game. So kind of with you. I'm kind of excited for that.
Well, with it, she's like I said, we're going back to Raccoon City, but she is investigating a series of strange deaths at a hotel where her mother died 8 years prior to the game. And for those of you who are able to, the demo will be made available at the 2025 Gamescom convention in August. And that is pretty much all I've got on video games. It is possible that Leon might show up late in the game, but that'd be a real nice surprise if we could get it.
Awesome. I see a lot about horror video games. I've actually never played one. It's not.
Oh, that's the way to go. If you've
not
got
in my
time
wheelhouse,
and the patience, go for it.
Awesome. I love that you're highlighting that little corner of the horror niche. So thank you for that, Evan.
Yeah, thank you.
Evan, where can people find you? What do you do? Tell us more about you.
So I am a co-host of the Kilt and the Redneck. Me and my Scottish friend who lives in Scotland, of course, and I'm from Tennessee. So we just kind of bring our own views from across the world to talk to each other about different types of movies. We don't just stick with horror all the time, but right now we're finishing out what we would technically consider a horror month. And from here, we just had so much fun with Planet Terror and all the goo and gore from that we said, you know what? Let's have a gore fest. Let's just go as many gore fest movies as we can. I wrote Aaron one night. I was like, you know what, Aaron?
Hell yeah.
I'd love
Yes.
to have you on for a gore fest. And he's like, okay.
Oh yeah,
And I
man,
was
I
like,
can't wait.
This is the best, you know.
Yeah.
But watching Planet Terror, we were like, man, all that gore, it just makes us realize how much more that we are such gore hounds.
Yes.
You gotta break the baba out now.
Yeah.
Blood. There you go. Put it on your list.
Yes.
Awesome. Great stuff over there. And we are on to our The Crypt, where we talk about physical media releases and the highlights from the month. GC is kicking us off. GC, what have you got for us?
What's up, guys? First of all, I want to say shout out to the comment section, man. It's been on fire all night. And as far as my co-panelists, I mean, you guys are freaking awesome. All the stuff that you've been dropping, I am a little bitter because you guys are going to cost me a lot of money. This hobby is already expensive enough, so damn it. But yeah, to get this started, I selected a few films that I acquired for the month of June. Some of them are not new releases per se, but they still deserve to get a spotlight shined on them because they're absolutely phenomenal. One of them that I want to start with, so this one kind of plays into our fears. This is not the typical horror movie that you would expect. This is actually based on a true story. It's kind of a character study. And we're all familiar with the typical fears that most of us have, right? Millions and millions of people have when it comes to going to the dentist, going into the ocean, sharks, the dark, and just to name a few. But this one in particular, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people watching this that are going to be able to relate. And this is Free Solo, The Fear of Heights. And again, the reason I say this is because it's not your typical horror movie. And I'm not the easiest person to scare, but let me tell you, like, when I watched this, man, I was white knuckling my couch the entire time. And I rock climb and I do extreme sports and stuff like that. And the reason this is crazy is because Alex Honnold, this guy, he climbed over 3,200 feet without a rope. I'm talking about like almost 3.5 hours, 4 hours of rock climbing on El Capitan in California. And no parachute, no nothing. Like, this guy just went straight up there. And if you haven't seen this, I mean, visually, it's one of the most beautiful documentaries that I've ever seen. And one of the best character studies that I've ever seen. This was filmed and directed by Jimmy Chin and his wife, which phenomenal, photographer. He's one of my photography idols. But this is on Disney Plus on 4K, so you're able to watch it on there. It's by National Geographic. If you're looking for a physical copy, I actually got this one on eBay. This is from the UK. So you need a region-free player to be able to watch it, but I highly recommend it. Even if you're not into this type of stuff, trust me, like this, my hands are sweating just thinking about it. And again, I don't have a fear of heights, but man, like my jaw was on the floor. So that's one of the first recommendations. That one's a non-traditional horror. It's more of the relatable, nature's gonna kill us type horror. Now, the next one I got on the list.
Did you see chiming in? Did you?
Did I what? I'm sorry?
Did you see the movie Fall? I think that's what it was called.
So if you I personally love that movie just because of the whole height aspect and the whole climbing aspect. But if that movie made you a bit uncomfortable with heights, just brace yourself, because it makes that movie look like a walk in the park. Yeah, no, yeah, it's this is, and the fact that's based on a true story.
Oh, it's real. It's so intense. Yeah, unforgettable. Good shout there.
And so for the next one, this one is a bit older. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of it at least. And just I want to put the situation. Imagine you wake up one day, you're wearing this like type of jumpsuit. You don't remember who you are, and you're looking around and you're in this room. There's nothing in there whatsoever. And then you see these doors, right? These kind of latches. You go through this latch, you go through this door, and you end up in another room. Again, nothing around, completely sterile. But you find somebody else. You get to talk to them. They don't know who they are as well. You try to work your way through this kind of maze, only to find that there's death traps all over the place. Every time you walk in the room, either incinerated, acid, works. And that is one of the Cube movies that I've been able to acquire, and this is Cube Zero.
So say that sounds like Cube you're describing. I was waiting to see which one.
Yeah,
I love
for
Cube.
sure.
Man, that
Cube,
movie was
so good.
such a mind blower. And Cube 2 was pretty good too. Like,
Let me tell you that, which is Hypercube, and let me tell you guys, it's so crazy to be able to get a hold of these movies. They have not gotten the boutique treatment like they should. I know the second one is still on DVD. The first one is a UK release, if I'm not mistaken, and then this one I got from Turbine, and I actually ordered this online, and I got it used. This is like a media book. But let me tell you guys, especially for the book fans out there, because this is something that is just, I mean, as you're looking at the art, and then it's absolutely stunning. So you have, right, that's the DVD. It comes with the DVD and it comes with the Blu-ray. But, there we go. And this is a German release, by the way. But just to kind of, I mean, it's all in German, so I'm going to have to use Google Translate to read it.
It seems like
But-
Germany always gets some of the best releases, man. Like we just covered
Yes.
Necronomicon over on Movie Dumpster, and you can only get the German release of that. Like Ghoulies
Yep.
3 for the longest time. It's now coming to America, but it was only Germany, and it was a beautiful disc, but it just made me think of that. It looks awesome. The art.
No, it is, man. I agree with you, Germany. I mean, I'm jealous. They're getting some Australia, Germany. They're getting some of the best stuff. I mean, like stuff like this, you'll have like some of the names in English, but everything else is just, I mean, hieroglyphics to me. But I still recommend it just because, again, we have apps like Google Translate. So you just put the phone over it, take a picture, and you're still able to read it. And I mean, for right now, this is the only way to get this Blu-ray. And highly, highly recommend it if you're into those type of movies. I know I sure am.
It's a great way to get them all together.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, for my next one, I don't know if I have any Criterion fans out there, but if I do, I mean, let's rejoice on this 50% off sale for the month that just started on Friday. But it's also mourn for our wallets and our finances. Now, I have two on my list here that I'm going to highly recommend. And one of them is a 4K of this beautiful, beautiful movie that, again, it is not natively in English, but it has subtitles. It's black and white. And, I mean, The Seventh Seal.
Yeah.
If you have not seen this movie, I mean, this is an absolute masterpiece. And just to give a bit of a premise of the film, this takes place back in the Crusades during the medieval Sweden, during the plague. And there's a knight that he comes face to face with a hooded figure, which is death. So he challenges him to a game of chess. And this guy's pretty much like, he's trying to cheat death. And throughout the whole film, it's just this beautiful, like, scenic masterpiece with, again, beautiful black and white choreography. Like, everything is just amazing. And it's just dialogue. And it's one of those movies that afterwards it really stays with you. It really makes you think. Because it's, I mean, you're kind of, it's not so much of horror, but it's more of dealing with, again, our mortality and like life's meanings, like what is everything really about, and sometimes making hard decisions like in this film he has to make. But highly recommend this movie. And if you're able to get it on 4K, it's one of those when it comes to black and white and these type of older films, which this is the second oldest film I've ever seen. This is from 1957, 97 minutes. It's in Swedish, but again, English subtitles, so it's very easy to follow. It's not so much heavy dialogue, but still enough where it's kind of like if you enjoy Parasite, less dialogue, but more more cinematic and more landscape and stuff like that. Now we're moving on, and man, I'm gonna save these two for last. These are phenomenal. This movie in particular, I'm a big not just horror fan, but history fan as well. So when you're able to blend horror, history, and found footage, I mean, I'm in. Like, I am a slut for it. So this movie in particular, I know
already.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I'm sure I'll have some fans of the movie here, but if not, I'm hoping you will become fans because this movie doesn't have the biggest cult following. Not many people talk about it. So this month, I'm actually doing a podcast episode on it with one of my buddies, and this is As Above, So Below. And man, this movie is absolutely stunning. It takes place in the catacombs underneath Paris, and one of the things about this movie, it's that I absolutely love is the fact that it talks about alchemy. So if you've ever read the book The Alchemist and you've enjoyed a book like that, it has to do with alchemy, but it also has to do with two particular books by a writer named Dante Alighieri, and it is The Inferno and it's The Divine Comedy. And sorry, it's not. Oh, there we go. And that is my co-host Bodhi, by the way. So,
Nice.
but yeah, so this movie takes place where these people they're pretty much trying to find the alchemist stone, right? They're historians and they find like this hidden map behind this old historic painting. So they find this map and they figure, okay, we got to get under to the catacombs to be able to find it. Little do they know that they end up going into the depths of hell, to the 9 circles of hell. And man, I mean, highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, I mean, please do. And if you've already seen it and you were kind of on the fence on it, rewatch it because there's a lot that you miss. And this is a movie again that it really makes you think about the decisions we make, and creepy as hell. Yeah. And I mean, the special features, I got this release in particular because the features, I mean, they're shooting underground, interviews with the photography and the director, inside As Above, So Below, To Hell and Back. And I'm a big like special features type of guy and booklet guy. And when it comes to stuff like this, highly recommend it. This is released by Viavision, and this one's on Blu-ray. I don't think it's on 4K anytime soon, even though I wish they did make it on 4K. But yeah, another highly recommendation. Got two more. So at any time, Tim, if you need to stop me, please do, because I will keep rambling. Now,
I lost track of when you started. So
okay, good.
I had it down for 2.5 hours.
Good, man. Now, the next recommendation that I have, it might not be for everybody, but again, this is another Criterion release, and I do know that David, you're gonna appreciate this one. I think you know which one I'm talking about.
I do too.
Guys, I cannot praise this release enough. If you haven't seen this movie, it's on HBO. You'll be able to stream it. I do recommend, if you're horror fans, it's just go in blind. I mean, honestly, $20 for this movie. And Vampire. This movie is from 1932, and it's kind of like it's almost like a silent film. It's in German with English subtitles, but it almost feels like a silent film. Just because it's so atmospheric and so visually stunning that it kind of just speaks for itself. And this is, again, obviously, if spoiler alert, it's a vampire movie. This movie was not, unfortunately, there is no 4K, but it is a Blu-ray that is, again, stunning by Criterion. They did an amazing release with this. And one of the things that I'll say about this, out of all Criterion's releases, it comes with a chunky book. which it has the right, again, for my literary fans, my reading fans. Like, this is just like stunning. And then it's kind of like a little digipack itself, which is obviously, I mean, look at that. If anybody's a fan of black and white photography,
Yeah, that's cool.
like, it's so good that I had my dog just licking the box now, and I'm like, buddy, no. Yes, there we go. Okay, so we have some fans. Oh,
Resale
thank
value
God.
skyrocketed after that.
There we go. And yeah, we got the disc, and then we have another booklet, which is, again, it's more writing, and it's kind of some photography, but it's also essays based on the film. And guys, I mean, if out of, it's going to be hard to pick any of the movies that I've recommended so far, but this is one that, again, if you have $20 that you could just forget about and throw at one of these, I don't think you'll regret it. I mean, again, it's such a beautiful collector's item, and it inspired, every time I've seen this, it's inspired my photography in so many levels, and also my videography. Now, last but not least, this is my absolute favorite release by Vinegar Syndrome to date. Like, none other releases will top this for me personally. Empty my wallet. I'm sorry. Trust me, you'll thank me though. I know it's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be a tough month, but we'll get through it. Enter the Void.
Yeah.
If you have not seen this masterpiece, I mean, like, come on.
Love
Like,
the package.
the amount of detail that went into this packaging is just, I mean, just visually stunning. I know Arrow did a release on this film, but I mean, it does not do it justice compared to, like, the love that went into this release by Vinegar Syndrome is just incredible. And I'm just showcasing this for a second, and then I'm going to definitely get into a little bit of this film. But here, I'll put this down, and then we got the booklet, which they did something pretty funky and pretty cool, which all the pages are different colors. Let's see if I could. There we go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, if this
Graphic design on that has me feeling like an amateur.
no, dude, I mean, again, like, I've never seen something absolutely so stunning, and when I saw it online, it did not do it justice. I could not believe what I was looking at. Now, this film, I remember seeing it for the first time on Netflix, and this was back in the day. Let me see here if I could pull up really quick the year that this came out. This was a 2009 release by IFC Films, and I remember going into it blind. I'd never seen the trailer for it, and I was just like, Enter the Void. And this is all I saw, the poster on Netflix. But plain. It wasn't even shiny and holographic where I was like, ooh, it's shiny. What is this? And I started watching this, and it's by Gaspar Noé. Noé. Never seen any of his films, and man, like, what a roller coaster. This film, it takes place in Tokyo, in the club, like, kind of like the neon club scene. So, I mean, again, you're already expecting some beautiful aesthetics, beautiful filming, and it has to do with a Tibetan belief, the Tibetan Book of the Living and the Dying, or pretty much the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Their belief is that when you die, your soul wanders for 30 days, pretty much trying to check on your loved ones, trying to, finish anything you left unfinished. Now, this film itself follows, let me see here if I can remember his name. It's been a bit since I've seen it, but it follows Nathaniel Brown, which is pretty much a gentleman. If you do see the trailer for this film, I mean, it's not going to be a spoiler or anything, but there's a critical moment that happens where he ends up finding himself within those 30 days. And within the 30 days of his death, I mean, again, it is just so much happens that even the end you're not going to expect. But as you're watching this movie, it's one of those, you might have to watch it twice because there's so much that happens, even probably 3 times, that you miss. And it really makes you go into this introspective kind of, like, you're sitting there for a week afterwards, really questioning our existence, our lives, like, what else is out there, like, and It's such a beautiful piece. It does also talk about the spirit molecule, which is DMT, and it's a not too big part of the film, but it is in the beginning. So that if that's something that interests you, that type of science and research, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's going to be in here a bit, and I mean, it's loaded with extra features, which talks about that as well. But I mean, guys, this is a type of movie. It's a bit long. I think it's about 155 minutes for the director's cut and 143 minutes for the regular cut. But if you have like a good like rainy night and you're just kind of feeling very introspective and you have energy, like watch this film, because this is kind of one of those you got to be in the mood for it, just because of the dialogue and all that good stuff. But yeah, those are my recommendations. If you enjoyed any of these, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Face the Movies. You could also follow me on my YouTube channel. I have some eclectic type videos. I could do either an unboxing one day or kind of make a top 5 list of movies that are going to just really make you sit there and think about life, or kind of scare the crap out of you or make you laugh. So I'm a little bit all over the place with that. I do a lot of live streams. I actually have one coming up tomorrow to celebrate the new release of Jurassic Park. So yeah, we're going to be talking about, I have some 2 guests on, and we're going to be talking about the original. We're going to be taking you guys back to the original Jurassic Park, spared no expense. And it's going to be fun. The series is called Cinema Rewind, where I do that usually once every 2 weeks to a month. I know I have Aaron that's going to be on a guest, one of my upcoming episodes, which is going to be great.
Yes, I can't wait.
Dude, I'm so excited to have you on, man.
It's going to be cool.
But yeah, I mean, so guys, you can follow me on there, and I have a podcast, which is Friday Night Fright Night. You could find me on Spotify and Apple Podcast. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. I hope you guys appreciate and enjoyed the show and tell. And yeah.
Yeah, so glad you came back after your quick jump in on the previous episode. And if you follow GC at Face of Movies on Instagram, he mentioned he does some photography and stuff, and some of the photos you set up to highlight your special editions and box sets or whatever are just stunning in themselves. Excellent work, man. I love it.
Dude, it's funny because I just had a friend recently ask me, he's like, oh, dude, like, what do you do with these photos? And I'm like, what do you mean? I just take them. And he's like, yeah, but how do you set up the backdrop? I'm like, are you photoshopping and stuff? I'm like, no, I one of the pictures I took in my fridge. And he was like, what? He was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, it's all about lighting. That's what I always tell people. It's always about lighting. You take care of the lighting and the picture will take care of itself.
You know, that's funny because I was thinking that usually on our show, well, right now I'm in a friggin' room. It's dark as anything, as you could notice, anyone watching this. But on our show, I 100% agree with you, JC. JC, Jesus, excuse me. GC, good lord. It's been a long episode. But yeah, the lighting, Joe, my co-host, we do it all, and we call it the video dungeon, just his basement. But like lighting, it really does make everything. Lighting and audio is always kind of key. That would be my advice that no one asked for.
Yeah.
Lighting and audio.
Yeah, look at all the stuff, random lights that I have. I think my Jason mask died on me. Like I had like a moon back here somewhere that died. But yeah, it really sets the mood, man. And Sean, I love like how you have it all dark and everything, because I just wish at some point, like I just saw like 2 red eyes come up out of nowhere.
Oh no, Jody! Oh no! I am not sleeping at all tonight. Thank you for that.
That would be amazing, man.
All right, and GC, you brought a friend with you, a buddy, to tonight's episode. We have Q, the movie collector. Q, welcome.
Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today? I'm glad you guys had me on. I've got a few titles, but I must say this has been like one of those months where I've barely been home. But I was able to check out one of these titles I'm going to show, and I'm going to talk about it as being one of my favorites. And one of those is a movie that's called it's from Shudder, and it was one of Vinegar Syndrome's releases, and it's called Sissy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Sissy.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Went into it completely blind. And I have this thing about when I purchase any Vinegar Syndrome titles, I watch the trailers first. And to my left, I've got a whole shelf of Vinegar Syndrome, and every single movie I've watched based off watching trailers have been golden. I don't have a single bad title. So this movie was no exception to that. So, and Sissy follows a girl who's a heavy social media influencer, and she ends up meeting an old childhood friend that she wants her to tag along with her for a weekend getaway to celebrate her wedding. They get there and they meet some other old friends that kind of rekindle some bad memories. And you find out the main character, her name's Cecilia. You find out why she's called Sissy. But one of the things that took me by a major surprise was the amount of gore that was in this movie. I did not see it coming whatsoever, and when it happens, it's very unexpected. But I highly recommend anyone that's into Shutter releases. This is one I would definitely recommend, which is Sissy. Then these other ones I'm just going to talk about just briefly because I haven't had a chance to check them out. But one literally just showed up on my doorstep as I was coming in setting up for the day. And this one is actually from TerraVision. It's actually one of their, I think it's their first box set of movies that they released. And it's a set of movies in their set called Shoestring Slashers. There's a movie here called Beware, Basement Jack, and Phantom Brother. Always love what TerraVision puts out. I think a few months back they brought back Rumpelstiltskin. Which
Uncle
that's
Rumpel's on his way, guys. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've always liked what they put out. And earlier, someone mentioned WNUF, the WNUF films, which I'm excited to check out that one film that he was talking about. But I've got those as well. So, TerraVision be putting out some classics. So I'm excited to check this one out.
Yeah, I think that the idea behind that Shoestring Slasher, I didn't get that one. I believe Joe, he's not here to confirm, but I think he picked that up. And I think they're going to be trying to do that like on the regular because I think it sold pretty well.
Yeah, I hope they do, man. I really hope they do enough of them. I'm super excited to check this out. One thing about with my collecting habits is that it gives me a chance to watch movies that I've never watched before or even heard of. Just things that are kind of classics to everyone else but unknown to myself. So this is just one of those box sets that I'm super excited to check out.
Blind.
Yes,
even if the movies are horrible, it's a fantastic box. The artwork's unreal.
Yeah.
And I think Lynn Lowry is in one of those films. Basement Jack, maybe. I haven't watched any of them yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw
man.
Basement Jack years ago. Lynn Lowry's in that one.
Is that
man.
it? Yeah, okay.
And the next one that I got in was part of Vinegar Syndrome's halfway to Black Friday sale. And I think this was one of the mystery titles. I've heard about this movie for years, never seen it, and it's Let's Scare Jessica to Death. I'm excited to check this one out just because of all the things I've heard about it. And this is definitely a blind watch for me, but everyone tells me it's great, so I'm excited to check that out. And then last but not least, I'm a big fan of like the H.P. Lovecraft movies. This one that popped up on my radar that I picked up, I didn't even know until I got it in my door and like took the package off. I was like, oh, okay, well, it makes sense because it's got Jeffrey Combs and what is her name? Barbara Crampton in it. And that's 101 Films release of Castle Freak.
I would say it's a Castle Freak, Reanimator, From Beyond.
Castle Freak. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Great movie,
the
by the
artwork
way.
on that is beautiful. Can you hold it up again?
Yeah. So
one of the many movies where Jeffrey Combs finds the Necronomicon.
And the
He does
packaging
it
is
so
really
well.
The packaging is really nice, and I really love what One-on-One Films does with their packaging.
It's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
They're
they're
so good.
Yeah.
nice.
And nice booklet and all that stuff.
You said
too,
you haven't
so.
seen that one?
No, I've never seen it. I've
Oh.
never
Oh my
seen it.
God.
I've never
Oh.
seen it.
Be in for a treat. Make sure you
Hey,
don't have
it's
any.
good.
Well, I was gonna say maybe you
Yeah.
don't have a friend in the room, but maybe that might enhance the movie for you.
Yeah. And I got one more. And this one, and just for the record, I don't get out to go to the movies that often, and I should. But when this one came out this year, I saw people raving about it, so I also picked up The Monkey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You know what's
That
funny?
was a fun watch.
A movie dumpster. We don't do a ton of new movies. We do a lot of those like forgotten gems and the classics. Well, classics to us, maybe not to the general public, like Munchie, of course. But we
Munchie.
reviewed that. I love The Monkey, but my co-host, he had read the original story, and I guess he really liked the original story, and he didn't like what they did with the movie, and he really didn't like it. So it was kind of an interesting conversation, kind of both on other ends. But I highly recommend it. I thought it was a trip, man.
I can't wait to watch it.
Johnathan and I did an episode on The Monkey when it came out. It was a blast. It was a funny movie. It was a good time. It was a good
It's
time.
one of the most fun movies of the year.
Yep.
It is. And we also did an episode for Castle Freak, too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did.
I was gonna say it's got Corey from Halloween Kills or Ends, if that does anything for you.
Oh, okay.
Q, was that your last one?
Yeah, that was my last one. One.
Tell people where they can find you, all the good stuff.
All right. Well, you guys, you can follow me on YouTube. I do 4K. I do mainly reviews on 4K releases, but I also do releases on Blu-rays as well at Q the Movie Collector. And you can also follow me on Instagram, where every now and then I'll go live on Instagram and I'll post pictures and stuff. Not nearly as nice as GC's pictures, but I'll post some pictures.
Hey! Listen, guys. Listen, like if you take anything from tonight, make sure not only to follow everybody and subscribe to everybody on here, but Q. I mean, dude, Q is just like, he is always like, I'm always just sitting here and I'm like, I feel like a lazy freaking slice of crap, because I'm like here trying to pump out videos and stuff, but Q is just constant. I'm like, dude, I don't know how he does it. Like, I don't know. This guy's always making good, amazing content, and I'm gonna be having Q on a few live streams too. I've already had him before on our Final Destination one, but please go follow him and give this dude some love. He's amazing. He's one of my buddies.
Thanks, GC.
All right.
Awesome.
And Movie Dumpster Sean, I want to put you on the spot if I can, because Q brought up something very related to what you guys are doing right now. So if you want to plug, like, it premiered 17 minutes ago.
Oh yeah. We're actually, I think I mentioned it already. Necronomicon, which is an H.P. Lovecraft anthology directed by I forget who exactly is all involved, but Brian Usna kind of headed the whole thing. Very not well known. It wasn't even released in theaters in America, but it is one of those ones you can get the German Blu-ray. I highly recommend it. It's an unbelievable anthology, and then you add H.P. Lovecraft's mythology to that. Say what you will about the man, but his stories are very interesting. And we're kind of doing a series of H.P. Lovecraft movies. We just covered the Dunwich Horror from the 70s, which is a big departure from that story, but the movie's interesting. And then we're going to be doing a kind of double episode to kind of round out the theme on the Unnameable 1 and 2, kind of a double feature episode. So yeah, H.P. Lovecraft, we're kind of deep in the shit of Lovecraft right now. And then we're actually going to be jumping into some more stuff that's, not that this stuff isn't our speed, but stuff we're going into like Mutant Hunt after this, and Carnosaur we're going to be hitting up in July. So that's kind of the kind of stuff we're usually tackling over on Movie Dumpster.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Get over there and check out their Summer of H.P. Lovecraft going on right now. So what episode dropping right now, actually. So check that out.
Yeah, we're wherever you get your podcast, but we also do premiere it on YouTube, where if you guys ever have seen that, you can kind of put your video up and have like a live chat with people, and it's just kind of fun thing to do with the fans. And yeah, you can just check out the full episodes, audio or video, whatever your preference is, over on MovieDumpsterPodcast.com or over on YouTube.
It's great stuff. So That's a wrap on episode 2 of the Dread broadcast. A massive thank you to everyone who tuned in live. The chat was lit tonight and the best way. It was awesome. Or if you're just watching the replay, thank you. So whether you came for the reviews, the recommendations, the books, the physical media haul, we're glad you are here. To our incredible guest, Jessica Lacy, thank you.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for always being one of my biggest fans and supporters. Tim, you have been screaming about me from the rooftops forever. Kelsey did the same thing. And then Sean, it's just been my face is not up here because I have trouble talking about these books and if I had to show my face and I can't handle it, but you guys have drawn me out and forced me to participate. And it's been one of the greatest things ever. So thank you so much for everything.
That's why I gathered them here for this, to be here to support you, because I know we all love what you do. So I'm just hoping that through this, some other people on this panel, some people watching, buy a book, read Jessica's Tastes Like Candy, coming out soon. It's worth it. Yeah.
September 9th.
Awesome. So to our panel, David, Journey with the Cinephile, thank you.
Thank you.
Sean, the Horror Vision Sean, thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Movie Dumpster Sean.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. We got Aaron again. Always. Aaron's going to miss next month, but I know he's already
I'll be
coming
back. Thank you for
Yep.
having me. That was a blast.
Kelsey, great addition tonight. I love the book recommendations. More people need to talk about, more movie people need to read horror books. I agree. That's why you're here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, give it a chance, guys. You might not think you like to read, but just try it. Try it, not to bash King again, but just try something else. You know, there's other people out there.
Widen your horizon.
I mean, she's got a great book. But thank you for having me, and thank you to my peeps in the chat. You guys, I'm so
They were
happy
awesome.
you're here. Thank you.
They were awesome. Evan with the horror video games, a new corner for the show. Great stuff there.
Thank you for having me. Sorry I went so quick.
I'm not going to make that joke. GC.
I was about to, so.
We were all thinking it.
GC, thanks for returning.
Dude, thank you for having me back, man. This time I actually was able to prepare, which was nice. And I just got to point out, Sean, dude, I saw you from the corner of my eye and your screen was completely black. And I just saw you like Nosferatu just like emerge from the darkness. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell just happened?
You know, it's funny. I was kind of going through the little document that Tim sent over, and I was like, he's like, specifically, don't sit in front of a window. I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to fix this? There's no lamp in this room. I just moved, but I'm glad I got some laughs out of my own ineptitude.
Like a high, make a hiney ho. Anyway, you're a total zombie right now. I'm sorry. I've been trying not to say that for like 20 minutes.
That email was pre-generated by our platform.
Yeah. Oh, really? I mean, it was good advice. I just couldn't take it. I was like, oh, shit.
And Q, your first time on here. Q, great job. Thank you so much for being available, being present, and doing this with us tonight. Awesome.
Anytime, man. I appreciate it. Just want to throw this out there. I've got a review dropping here in the next few days. It's going to be my first big giveaway. And here's a clue. It involves an H.P. Lovecraft movie.
Oh.
That's a limited edition 4K of that H.P. Lovecraft movie. So stay tuned.
We didn't know, but June was the month of H.P. Lovecraft for us tonight. So, great stuff. You all brought something special tonight. Thank you for sharing your passion with us and giving horror fans even more to obsess over and empty their wallets over. And to our viewers, if someone on this panel brought the heat tonight, let them know. Share the episode, tag them, follow them. That's how we grow this thing, by lifting each other up and celebrating the things that we love together. The Dread broadcast airs the last day of each month with a fresh round of horror headlines and a rotating panel of awesome creators. Episode 3 drops July 31st. And yes, we've already got a special guest lined up, a producer of some independent horror movies who is currently waist deep in production of a found footage horror movie. So hit the bell on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, tell your favorite horror creator to come join the table. Johnathan joined us, so
Super
we were
late.
able to make it.
I had a doggy disaster to take care of. My pupper got sick, so I had to do some cleanup.
Oh man,
That's the
poor Betty.
worst news.
Dude, oh man. I just walked in the apartment. I was like, oh, what's that smell? Oh, Jesus.
Oh no. Well, I'm Tim, and
I'm Johnathan.
yeah, and on behalf of us over at the Dread broadcast, stay spooky, and we will see you all next time.